Hi, I'm Belinda Fenty.
And I'm Pauline Nakiria.
Welcome to Let's React podcast, the podcast that amplifies the voices of artists from underrepresented backgrounds in the UK and beyond.
Yeah, we'll share our experiences, the highs, the lows, and everything in between. From addressing underrepresentation
to celebrating diverse, rich stories.
Join us on this journey as we react to the world around us and inspire change in the industry. Oh, Happy New Year, babes. Happy New Year.
Yeah.
How are you?
2025, which some people are calling 2020 Thrive. Yeah.
Those people haven't experienced life, haven't Oh, I like that though, 2025.
Yeah.
That's nice.
We thrive all the time, exactly. We have some control, but not full control.
Not full control. Yeah.
So can make all the plans you want.
Definitely. But no, I'm hopeful. Yeah, I just realized. Hello, everyone. Yes. Happy New Year. It is 2020 Thrive, apparently. And so yeah.
Sorry, it just reminds me of Friday. Say Friday, or if you say 2020 Thrive, some people will want to shoot you. Some people hate Friday. It's divisive, but like clapping hands, totally divisive.
Definitely. I suppose it's also thinking about the things that will help you or help motivate you. So using positive words and positive, connotations to things, to, something makes it much more like something that you can actually thrive with or actually do.
I get you. Yeah, I totally get you. Yeah.
So this is going to be a thriving year for us. That's the hope and that's the plan. And I think it's actually a very good word, actually, thrive.
Yeah. And we wish it for all our viewers.
Yeah.
Thrive.
Thrive.
Not just survive, thrive.
Oh, I like that. Should I drop a beat and then you No, honestly, it was, to be honest, it was a tough year last year. I know, especially for us in the creative industries, it was like an aftermath of 2023 with all the strikes, with everything going on. And it just kind of flowed into 2024 and everything was just scattered. People were starting to try and find themselves again and things like that. Well, that's what I think of it. And I feel like it kind of went for me. But yeah, I'm hopeful. Maybe it is being hopeful that this year will be very, I was going to say frivolous, trying to make.
Why not?
I'm here all nights. But yeah, no, I think that it's a good word. It's a good word to have and to use. And yeah.
And
So
speaking of thriving, that brings us to your chosen theme of the episode.
Yeah. So
So it seems like a lot of our peers are thriving in the industry.
yes, definitely. I think like this year, not that we were not doing it, but it's more like it's really about representation and it's something that we want to continue to champion, to continue to talk about, especially. And it has been a very interesting year. And obviously, the Golden Globes happened. And what can we say about that? Well, I feel like this episode being about representation, especially I think not just on screen, but in theatre as well, in a way, is really important because thinking about it in a sense of how does it make you feel when you see people like you? How does it make you feel when you hear stories that are similar to your kind of stories or that you recognize much more easily? And yeah, it would be nice to always to have a point where we get to where someone will be like, I get that. I get that. Not like a oh, is that what happens? Really? Is that real? Is that true? So I hope that this year will be a moment to have that representation thrive. Sorry, it's gonna be a word that's just now stuck in my brain now. But yeah, no, so that's the plan, and a lot of the and also just overall this year in terms of the podcast, a lot of it will be about that, and we'll be opening that up a bit more, going into it and getting thoughts, I guess, thoughts on those type of topics and things like that. So it's much more focused and driven. So yeah.
Oh, I like the way you described representation just now in
Mm,
terms of being a lubricant for human understanding.
yeah.
Yeah, you're totally right. The more that different stories are shared universally, the more people will be able to understand each other. I think
Yes.
that's powerful as an artist. The ability to do that,
Definitely.
yeah, it's a great understanding and connection between different people to make the differences smaller. I think that's awesome.
Definitely. And do you know the funny thing is I was catching up on the Doctor Who series with the lovely Ncuti as the new Doctor, and one episode which I just so my daughter sees me watching Doctor Who all the time and things like that, and she just wanted to watch it and she loved one of the characters in it, and but this one episode that I watched, and it was about how people are always stuck on their screens and things like that were happening. But at the end of the episode, these humans basically didn't want to be rescued by the doctor because he was black.
Oh, wow.
And that episode was deep. And
Mm.
like when I started watching it, because obviously, again, because now not my eyes are open, but I'm very much more aware of representation on screen. So as we're watching it, all these characters seem to be were blonde, or blue-eyed, or they were white, and there was no other race. And there's a part of me that was like, oh, what's going on here? Was it the casting? Was it this? And I was like, you know what? No, 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 no. Let the story play out. And at the end of it, when she just said outrightly, no, I wouldn't let someone like, or your kind to dilute or affect us or whatever. I wouldn't let you rescue me, even if I would rather be dead or something like that.
Yeah.
And his reaction was he laughed and then he started crying. Like he just literally went,
Lovely.
like it was just that thing of like, even my daughter was like, why is he laughing?
That's amazing. Wow, an actor.
But it was so powerful. Like how he reacted was like, even in that way ahead of the future, that this thing is happening to them and they still do not want help. And I was like, that just, I really hope that, because I only watched it recently, I'm letting it time, to settle in and stuff, but I haven't had a chance to actually look into it more, but I will. And I realized how powerful that episode was because it really shows the importance of people understanding because of media people see what they want to see, or people are given or shown what people think is the correct, say, story, or the correct this and that. And so the understanding of what it means to be a different person of global majority, it made me feel like, oh my God, like someone would rather die than be saved by somebody who looks like me just because of
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
prejudices and biases that they go through.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And I mean, the writer, I don't watch Doctor Who, but
Mm.
I'm guessing the writer is just basing that on everyday life.
Hmm.
Because certainly having worked in hospitals, luckily it's not common, but working in
Mm.
hospitals in the UK, it's most medics or nurses of
Hmm.
the global majority have had patients who have not wanted to be seen by them because of the color of their skin. And yeah, so it's not like, whoa, oh my gosh, imagine that could happen. It's a very real, common occurrence where you could be with a heart attack in the emergency department.
Yeah.
And yeah, you might choose not to be seen by someone from the global majority, which is just, yeah,
Yeah.
so sad.
It's sad. It really is.
Sad, but occurs, yeah. So
Yeah.
that's interesting that in this sci-fi series, they've kind of echoed that more
Yeah.
dramatic, or not more dramatic, but more kind of out there scenario,
Hmm.
but it reflects what's happening on the ground.
I didn't quite catch that.
Oh,
Could you please say that again?
no, sir, I'm not talking to you. Close your ears. How dare you? That's crazy. My phone's actually on Do Not Disturb, and it's still it can listen in and talk to me. How dare?
Filtered through. It's like, yes, I hear you, Billy. I completely want to get in on the conversation.
Yeah. Wow.
Oh, I'm looking forward to your algorithms. Please let me
My
know.
algorithms, there's something messed up with my algorithms
Oh,
because I was looking at an event on Eventbrite, can't remember what it was, and it had events you might also love. One was UK statistics and planning, but worse was a Katie Hopkins of the far right event. It's like, no, I think I don't need to go to a Katie Hopkins event. Thank you very much.
how did that happen?
I don't know what these
I feel
algorithms
like
do.
it was somewhere and someone was having a conversation and it picked up on that conversation.
The only good thing I can say of it is at
Mm,
least
okay.
they don't have my data because the algorithms have me completely wrong. So I've foiled them somehow. I don't know how, but
Yeah. It's always important to not accept all cookies, people. If you can actually just, if you can't choose the reject option, just choose the only essential, but also look through. I know a lot of people always skip that, but it really is important to actually reject.
yeah, they
Yeah.
make it so easy to accept and so much
Mm,
like more fiddly to reject, don't they? Because you have to then expand it and then
yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah.
I have to say I often just accept when I'm just like, oh,
Yeah. But
but then
try,
I
yeah.
delete everything. What I do is I delete my history intermittently so that
Yeah.
it deletes cookies
Hmm.
anyway.
Yeah. And clear your
That's
cache.
another hack. So if you
Yeah.
do press accept all day, you could once a day or twice a week clear your full history.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm terrible at clearing my history and my cache, to be honest. Like,
yeah,
I
yeah,
think is because I'm so used to just opening it up, like say the tab or whatever, and everything comes up or whatever. Do you know what I mean? I'm
yeah,
so
yeah,
bad
yeah,
at clearing that, and I think I should definitely get into the habit of doing that. So,
yeah,
but I do definitely try to not accept cookies as much
yeah.
as possible. And sometimes, you'll try and access a page, especially on your phone. And when you try and access it, it takes you to the cookie page, right? And so when after you've clicked all the bits and then the option for what you want isn't there or it's at the bottom or something like that, it then doesn't take you back to the page that you were on
Yeah, right, okay.
because it wants you to accept.
Ah, sure, yeah, I know what you
So
mean.
I
Yeah,
always just say bye to that
yeah,
page
some
and just move
newspapers
on.
do that, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just started saying bye to those pages because I was like, no, this is not happening. But clear yeah, get into the habit of clearing your history and your cache if you can. Well done, Belinda.
Going back to representation,
Yeah.
I'm curious, what have you seen where you thought, oh, wow, I'm being represented here, or this is a world that I know that I've not seen before, that
Mm.
thank goodness now is being represented?
Is this like from like in the past or just 2024? Is it any specific era or just generally?
It's anything that resonates, anything where, so it could be from any time, but where you've looked and you've gone,
Yeah,
oh, wow, oh,
you
I
feel
feel
seen.
seen, or
Yeah.
like, yeah, I've never seen this on screen before, and it's so great.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I think I'm thinking about like the shows and things like that I've seen that have actually inspired me in terms of the way I write stuff. And I know it only started getting famous the last couple of years because of the little reels and videos people have been taking from it, snippets of it. But and I know it's really random, but Famalam.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
So that
That's
TV show.
true.
So Famalam is like this comedy show that's on BBC. And the reason why, like, I found it was refreshing because in such a long time I haven't had that. And there's also the idea of where when you see something, that's the idea of what you want to continue to see. So like when I watched the TV show Riches, and I love the idea of this black powerhouse family, you know what I mean? Like where they just so Riches is about this girl and her brother, they lose their father and they've moved to America, but they have an extended family. And so she has to come back to the UK and basically run her father's hair business, beauty, Afro beauty company.
Okay. Mhm.
And the company was kind of started with their mom, but it's like their dad took it and made it his, like, not his own, but kind of like run with her ideas and stuff. And so he even started a new family and everything, and he had other kids and stuff, and they'd been the ones expecting to run the company. And so there's all this drama that comes with big powers and big, a lot of money left by someone's sudden death, or shall we say.
Yeah.
And I love the idea of that is the kind of representation I would love to see. You know what I mean? Like I want to continue to see that. But when it
Great.
comes to the things that happen daily and you connect with, obviously comedy has always found a way of getting that straight away. And Famalam, it's a comedy, but it's a sketch show. And I just loved it because it just made me these moments that they would just highlight in their sketches that just were like, oh my God, yeah, oh my gosh, that is
Yeah, yeah,
so
yeah.
true. And one of them was the thing about so when you're going back to Africa, if you're African, and
That was
I'm
what I was going
sure,
to say.
yeah,
That
that
was the
one,
scene I was going to say, by the way.
yeah,
I know, right? But when people keep giving you stuff to put in the suitcase, was it that one?
yeah.
Exactly.
Because
Go on.
the truth is like literally and the funny thing is the time I watched it my mom was about to travel home and she was like I'm not announcing I'm traveling and that was my mom and she's like I'm not telling anyone I'm traveling because the truth is when you're traveling back all the relatives were here who are not able to send stuff or travel back they just give you stuff and they'll be like oh it's just a small little thing and that small
Mm,
little thing
mm.
yes it's a whole microwave for example because it's just one thing they think oh it's a small little thing but inside that small little thing they'll stuff in like things as well, for example. Yeah, it's the idea that you then have to keep it quiet that you're traveling back and you try and travel at the weirdest times that no one will know about. And so you arrive quietly and all these things. I remember laughing so hard when I watched that episode. And when they came out of the house, they're like trying to be quiet and they're putting the things, and then the lights just come on. And then all the aunties and all the relatives. Oh man. And the thing is
Yeah,
because you can't say no or you know you want to be respectful and you want to do all these things and it's like a favor or this and that and it's just like come on man. So I
yeah.
found that so funny and so relatable. And there's so many moments especially like even that thing of where you go to parties and you carry Tupperware. Yes, you carry Tupperware because you're going to be packing extra food because they always cook too much food. And just yeah, there's so many moments in Famalam that I just really loved and connected with. So I
Nice.
think, yeah, that's the one.
Is it still being made?
No, they just they saw they fit. I think they it kind of stopped after because a lot of it was after lockdown. So they tried to I think kind of die down because of lockdown. A lot of the actors in the show went on to other projects.
Okay.
So it was like it was a big break for them, and then they went on to do other big projects. You know, like Tom Mucci, Samson as well. The one of the big guys who you know in
Sure.
it.
Yeah.
Vivian at Chipong as well. She's gone on to Sandman and all these other things. So it's like it was like a big break for them. And I think the other, as one of them again went as well to America is in FBI, the show, the TV show. So like a lot of them went off to do other things and projects. So it was a big break for them, and I guess it became a scheduling conflict kind of thing and priority thing.
Oh, interesting. Because they could
So,
have
but you can,
recast
yeah, they
the
could have
same.
recast it to continue the sketch show, but and because it's not very specific in terms of the sketches that they do, but I guess when you're a group of people have come together, maybe you know a group of friends have come together to write this and create this piece of art and then you all then branch off to do and you can see them supporting each other doing different things like it's really amazing
Oh,
to see online when they're supporting each other and everything that they're doing which is amazing so you know like it was their baby like you know when they made
okay. So it was
that
a group of friends, was it?
yeah, I think so. That the chemistry that was there, because also with the
Wow.
writing and stuff like that, I think that
Yeah.
yeah, it was very kind of like that. That's the vibe I got. I don't know how close they are, but I
Yeah.
feel like that's how it felt. Because I know Tom Mucci has talked about when they were pitching it to BBC, and you know one of the things it says that they had to think about how different is the show to everything else, because even though it was important to them for them it's the BBC. The BBC are like, but how can people relate to what is different about your show and what makes it, you know? And I think that it's so good that the BBC made it. But at the same time, I remember thinking like after Famalam, when I wanted to find another sketch show or something comedy or whatever, a lot of the shows I'm seeing, it's all predominantly white, you know, like 95% of the shows you see, especially for the UK, in terms of the UK entertainment industry and scene, a lot of the shows are, you know, predominantly with white people. So a lot of them are not really connected to. There's now starting to pop up a few, you know, Asian, like, you know, what's his name? That comedian who's in everything. Ranganathan?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's done a show, a few shows because he's doing so many shows, but he's done a couple of shows and stuff as well and on the BBC and so like it's just when you start to see them, it's slow, but it's coming, but it's just not as fast as I would like it to be, if that makes sense. Because you have America that is just always throwing out a new, black show or whatever, with a lot of black people, and it's so like easy for them to do that.
True.
Whereas here in the UK, it just feels like a hustle. You know what I mean? Like it's
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
definitely.
So like you'd expect Channel 4 to be not waiting for Black History Month where they do a show of, a month of showing black TV shows or South Asian shows. I want it to be all year round where I can just log on to, their for demand, and I can just look at all the options, and I'm not just saying white. Oh, there's someone brown.
Yeah, yeah, we are behind in that sense.
Yeah.
There's been progress, I would say, in terms of seeing more shows that have a mixture of people in the
Yeah.
cast, but there's fewer, like you say, like fully, not like fully or majority global majority cast. Like there's
Yeah.
fewer shows like that. You
Yeah.
mentioned because I've not actually seen it, but I think
Hmm.
that's probably an example of what you're talking about. Is it
Yeah,
majority?
yeah. So
Yeah,
that it's also catered to that audience. So it's not
yeah,
like a general show and you're like, not to be rude, but to say like you're ticking a box, we need this role, this, like, in Alexander the Great,
yeah,
where they have a very diverse group of actors playing all these different roles. And even though it's set in Russia and based on
yeah,
kind of true events,
yeah.
you
Which
want
is
some,
good to do, like
yeah,
Bridgerton, for
yeah, yeah,
example.
yeah.
But but it's different to what you're talking about, isn't it?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah,
Because like with Bridgerton, they did the what if kind of version that Marvel did with having the story, the idea that Queen Charlotte was actually she wasn't, white. She was actually mixed. And the idea that what if she had taken control, what if she'd made such an influence on the public? Maybe that's what Bridgerton, that's what the world would be like, you know what I mean? Like it's
yeah.
that kind of thing, if that makes sense. So, and I feel like it was probably because they were getting a lot of flack from people saying, oh, but this is set in whatever. There were no, predominant black families or Asian families or this kind of thing. But Bridgerton is kind of just doing like a what if, everyone was accepted into the
Donda,
society.
it's Donda. Yeah,
Yeah.
she does her thing. She's
Yeah.
amazing. Wow.
Yeah. Amazing. Shondaland. But what about you, Belinda? What have you seen that has made you go, oh, okay, I feel seen?
Yeah, I would say the thing about 2024 sorry, it's a slightly different answer to the question, but I will go back.
Yeah.
The amazing thing that I found last year,
Mm.
and I guess is a sign of the direction in which things are moving,
Okay.
that some of my favorite films they weren't set in like the UK or in America. So we're talking Crossing, which I mentioned in an earlier episode, which is set between Georgia and Istanbul by a Swedish Turkish director. Yes, these are not English language films. And then My Favorite Cake, which is set in Iran, and also an older demographic, like 60s, 70s. The same with the protagonist in Crossing. So it's just been so nice to see these stories from around the world, which have made it into the big cinemas here, which before you really, really would need to hunt to find these gems. And the quality of them has been absolutely incredible. Yeah, so my favorite films of the year have been from other parts of the world, which is great.
Mm.
But circling back to the question I asked you, which you
Yeah.
just threw back at me, I'm gonna need to think. I went to Aesthetica Film Festival,
Oh,
short film festival.
yes. Yeah.
Yeah, with a short film that Pauline and I and some friends put together called I Am Light. Um,
Ba-ba-ba-bam.
Yeah, so at Aesthetica Short Film Festival, I bumped into a director who I've met before called Thomasin Adepeju, who is a British Nigerian filmmaker based here
Okay.
in London.
Okay.
And his short that was showing there is called Journey Mercies.
Right.
And it was unlike any film I'd ever seen before.
Mm.
And it was so beautiful. And I just thought, I messaged him and I said, like, thanks for making this because I've never seen anything like this. And it sort
Mhm.
of highlights that fact. Yeah, so I saw this film about a Nigerian man's last day of work here in the UK.
Mhm.
I don't want to give anything away. So, for you listeners, I'm very sorry, I'm going to leave you in suspense. We will post the link to the film, or at least to Thomason's profile so you can check it out. But yeah, for me, that was very special to see something that, even though it wasn't directly in my upbringing, because it was specifically Nigerian, it was something I could relate to and something that I have seen like through friends or through similarities in
Yeah.
the cultures, which has been incredible.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you can, it's also that connection to other cultures. If someone can get that, that means a lot, because it means that you've seen something, the way the story has been told has allowed you to see something that you can connect to. And that makes it relatable in a way. And I guess that is kind of what we are talking about. You know, when we say representation on screen, we're not saying like wipe out all the stories that, that we don't connect with. We want the
Yeah.
stories that we can easily connect with, and it doesn't take us a minute to go, oh yeah, huh, what? You know, like you
Yeah,
can,
it can take us a minute and then we learn, which is
yeah,
great too. But yeah, it's lovely to have the ones that you do have
yeah,
direct evidence of or similar, because
yeah,
there are a lot of cross-cultural similarities in very unique, specific
yeah.
stories where you're like, oh yeah, I can relate to that.
Yeah. I
I
suppose
can
it's
relate.
also, I think, wanting the fact that you can go sit down with a random group of people and you suddenly talking about this one thing that you're just connected to, and
Yeah,
you're just able to just chat about it openly, and it's not a thing. I guess that's, yeah, that would be great. That's just it's that's what we mean, like representation. We're hopeful that this year will be that, and we know it will be. And I know there's a lot we could cover and talk about, and we'll continue to talk
yeah,
about. I promise we will.
we will. I'm sorry, we cannot end the episode without, of course, mentioning I May Destroy You.
Yeah.
That was something that I hadn't seen before, but I was really grateful was told that I
Yeah.
could, yeah, connect.
Yeah.
Yes,
That's
something
a good one.
fresh,
My
but
maybe
so important.
yeah.
Yes, Nicole, yes.
No, that's true. It's true. It really is. And I think that I know with the way she writes, she's I think she once said she always writes things the way she's feeling and she just gets it out. And she never expects it to go any further than what she's done. And if it does, then that's amazing. But I suppose it's nice when someone writes from such depth that they're just wanting to have that told and just openly told. And yeah, I made Israel was so deep and so raw. I loved it
Yeah.
too. I loved it. But yeah, she's like dying. No, Paula, no. um, but I guess what we could do as well, like over the next couple of episodes, we could also go around the continents and talk about the different stories from all the different people from all those parts of the world, and see how, if we can get a guest on who's from that part of the world, or that, you know, related to that part of the world, and get them to tell us their experiences based on that theme. We could do that as well. So then that way we're going and getting into it,
Yeah,
which is
sounds.
exciting, and I'm looking forward to. Because we started off by talking about the word thrive. So I just thought, without thinking about it, without talking too much about it, and I know we've talked about how sometimes the word is not enough to express everything else around it. But like, just even now, how you're feeling at the moment, of how you think that the start of the year is feeling for you. One word, and you can have a think about
Yeah.
that word. And I mean, I also need to think of that word. But I think for me, what the word is, the first thing that pops to mind without even
Yeah.
thinking is quantity. I don't know why, but maybe it's more to do with the quantitative as a word. But like, I don't know. But that's the word that just came into my head.
Oh, come on, please elaborate. You can't just leave.
um, I guess it's just because the first one I was just thinking when I was asking you and talking about it, I was like, oh, it's just a word that just came into my head, and I think it's more to do with how I've been feeling and how I have planned my year ahead, and I'm grateful of doing that and thinking about, I've never done that before, and realizing how important it meant to me to spend a whole month planning my year and adjusting it, but knowing that it's doable, and cutting back on things, even though I really love to do them, because as a creative, you're always thinking, I can do this. But that's how it felt, I guess.
Mm.
So quantity, I guess that's why it's just lots of things, but yeah, that's why it
Yeah.
came into my head.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah.
I'm going to say hopeful.
Hopeful.
Yeah, hopeful.
Hopeful.
Yeah. I mean, you can
Okay.
take from that what you want, but
Belinda is hopeful.
I am hopeful. I started
Hope.
my year hopeful. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good start.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, darling.
All right, my
Until
love.
next time,
And next time. And
be
thank you,
hopeful.
listeners. Mwah.
Bye.